All right. Welcome to it's a game. What game is it? I don't even remember. We are watching Carrier Me to Victory take on Team ZOVN Shipyards. Team 1 ANS, Team 2 OSP. Team 1 is Carrier Me to Victory, consisting of Davenant, Goose, Note, and Dr. Blade Steel. Team 2 is ZOVN Shipyards, consisting of Crystal Woods, Void, Persons, and No Care. We are here on Arroyo as the teams begin to deploy their ships. Both teams deploying their ships really quickly here, much faster than a lot of the other matches we've seen. It would appear that OSP bringing a lot more hulls than ANS, which is not really too big of a surprise. Although it looks like we have a lot of... I can't tell who's deploying what on ZOVN Shipyards because they've all got the matching tag. But it looks like, yeah, ZOVN's going pretty heavily down below. You typically do see that with OSP, though, on this map. But they still have quite a few assets high on the map as well. We will see what they're actually deploying here. We cannot see ship classes in the deployment screen, so we will just have to wait until we this timer runs out or they all decide to ready up. ANS, though, is completely locked in. They are all ready to go. All their ships are deployed. Everyone on ANS is readied up. Couple minor adjustments from OSP as they shift their resources around, trying to coordinate. One can only assume what they're talking about in their team voice call right now. All right, zooming in, we get a look at an Axford here. A missile backpack, 450 on the front, a couple stone walls on the side. I'm assuming there are two other stone walls on the other side we cannot see, but we will run through the teams shortly here. All right, starting off with Carrier Me to Victory. Davenant is running a heavy cruiser. 450, it's a Greedford. We have 120 guns on the sides, 450s on all of the mounts. Raider, Whiplash, Dragonfly, triple drive I see. Parallax radar. Scattering of damage control teams throughout the ship. Bulk mag in the protected slot. Fairly standard build. Their other ship is a... Oh, it's a support voxel. 2 Sarissas, some jamming, and a 250 on this thing. We also have a VLS-2, it looks like, filled with a various mixture of offensive and defensive missiles. Only 2 restores on this thing, although... Oh, it's a track-correlated spyglass build on this, this voxel here. Very interesting. We also see some blanket jammers and floodlights as well for dealing with jamming and also providing some jamming of their own. Dr. Blade Steel over here has the Axford that we saw in the zoom-in screen. It looks like only one of them. VLS-2 on the back, some locking capabilities, and some counter jamming. Lots of hard kill on this thing. It is also being escorted by a Reigns, 2 Sarissas. I'm assuming that's a interruption. And a VLS-46 on the bottom. We have a Parallax on the Axford. Ammunition elevators scattered throughout the ship. Stonewalls are very useful on Capitals at the moment due to rocket strikes. Vastal, are you streaming? And am I hearing your audio? I am. I'm going to mute that really quick so we don't hear echoing. Yeah. I had no idea you started streaming. Anyway, Goose here with the double Axford here. VLS-2 backpacks on both of these, and it looks like only the double barrel 450 on the bottom of these. Interesting. I'm assuming that's a point-saving measure. Only 2 restores. Oh, whoa, what the fuck? This one only has 1 restore. These are some very interesting Axfords here. Normally you see a lot more damage control than this. Only 3 teams on one of them, too. Interesting. We'll see how that works. I'm assuming their points are in these missiles. Yep, there are 13 SDMs in that one, and 14 SDMs in the other one. That's where all of the points are. Very light on the damage control and firepower out of these in order to maximize the SDMs. Neko says reactor boosters in the nose. There are reactor boosters in the nose. Oh, dear. Standard drives as well. They do have a small whiplash, but no raiders in these things. Dodging is going to be a problem. We'll see how they hold up against OSP here. The last fleet, is this a Frigg Swarm? Look at this. These are, looks like a Yub fleet. Lots of missiles in here. I'm seeing some illuminators, which makes me think that these are SAR dump rains up top. They are getting into a very high position here to drop, I'm assuming, SAR HS2s on the enemy. Looks like we've got 5 rains of, looks like pretty similar build, and then also a Sprinter here providing some jamming and Sarissa support. Hopping over to ZOVN Shipyards here, No Care has the fleet carrier. Already deploying several squadrons around the map. We have, I'm assuming these are 100 mil bombers. No, these are torpedo bombers rushing down the A point. Well, interesting. I just noticed that OSP doesn't have ANS doesn't have a cap fleet here. OSP is completely uncontested on taking the A point. There is nothing in the area that can even deny that. OSP also rapidly taking C point and E point, giving them an early lead, and that 3 cap is going to start adding up if ANS doesn't do anything about that. Some more torpedo bomber squadrons just around the map, patrolling Barracudas with 35, I'm assuming 35 and 20 millimeter on some of these patrolling flights. Hornet Squadron, similar deal to Hornet Squadron. Yeah, you can see the fleet carrier is already also... These pikes are not deployed by the carrier. We will get to Crystal Woods fleet in a moment here. Persons is running the cap fleet by the looks of it. It looks like they have these this very powerful MMT supported by a Jam Sprinter combo here. Looks like they have 4 formations. Nope, just 3, and then a torpedo tug here. And some gun cappers. We
got a saw dump coming in.
We do have a saw dump. Look at this. ANS or OSP brought the counter saw dump. Crystal Woods. I have seen this fleet before in action. They are dumping the SRH missiles. It should be noted that Crystal is probably using the pikes as the illuminators. I believe these have the illuminator sidearms on them. SRH missiles. Looks like they're mostly missing. It looks like the was there even any illumination going down range to guide those in? Doesn't look like it. Interesting. Perhaps a misplay from the Crystal Woods. And then last, rounding out ZOVN Shipyards, we have Void here with the 450 liners. Yep, 450 liners with 100 mil sidearms. Very nice. Another S2 dump out on this cluster of capitals over here. I'm not even... I cannot catch my breath as when it comes to like talking about this stuff. Oh, this missile strike unfortunately looks like it is going to rock PD though, as this Axford moves behind the wall. A bunch of AMMs come out to try and help defend the Axford. Oh, one hit gets through. Hits the bulk mag and the large DC locker on the bottom of this Axford. That is a very vulnerable spot to get a missile hit in.
Oh my god. It just used its restore on a small reactor booster. Now it has 0 restores.
Are you joking? Please tell me that's... Oh, no. Alright. An interesting misplay from this Axford fleet. No restores on an Axford this early into a match is a rather unfortunate situation to be in.
So much saw dumping going on.
Looking around the map, yeah, Crystal Woods is dumping all of their saw missiles at the very beginning of the match. There isn't even anything out there that's been, like, detected. I don't even see any illumination out from Crystal.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. Why are
Crystal,
they firing so many missiles?
I have seen Crystal's fleet before. These are the $5 flashlights is what they call these pikes here, and they are supposed to be illuminating for the saw dump, but I haven't even seen them illuminating yet so far. Meanwhile, around the map, torpedo strike into the Sprinter in OSP's backline as D point is gonna fall in the hands of ZOVN Shipyards. There is absolutely nothing over here to even contest that, as it's not going to be long before OSP gets a 4 cap here. All of ANS's front line is just stuck in this corner over here, not wanting to poke their heads out, or else they just get saw dumped to death. Crystal's still having plenty of salvos left, down to 50% ammo on the saw dump, so perhaps maybe trying to play it a little bit more passively, waiting for them to come out, but 450 liners, however, are taking a lot of return fire for their troubles, without any spotting in the form of bloodhounds on their team. Actually, no, they do have a bloodhound over here, but it is not an art to detect those capitals that ANS has. This is a very interesting match so far. ANS's saw dumping assets are at the very top of the map here, just uncontested. There is nothing up here to even spot them. They were spotted earlier going directly up, so it is possible that OSP knows that they're there. These 450 liners need to get into cover, or else they're just going to get picked apart by these Axfords. Even with no restores, Axfords can still put out firepower, as Goose's Axfords are doing. Naganantas jump in from the Axford up top. Dr. Bladesteel sends a couple Naganantas at Butcher Squadron down here. They reach their target. Unfortunately, one Nagananta goes into a bomber, and then the other one goes into the other bomber, so it doesn't actually get any kills. The bombers are hurt, though. Nagananta's out into this this halberd over here, launched by No Care. I'm assuming this was an offset lock ship. It does take a hit. It dodges the other one. Torpedo strike out against Davenant's Axford here from very long range. Battery Squadron launching 3 torpedoes. I'm assuming it was supposed to be 4, but one of the bombers got shot down before it could launch the second one. They all get intercepted before they hit, though. And Battery Squadron is going to go down
coming in on Void's liners here.
Oh, yep. So it was 2 saw dump players. Void... CIC down on this liner is going to have nothing to defend against that dump. It would appear that, for some reason, both teams opting to bring saw dump. Very interesting. Both the saw dump missiles are saw wake, by the way. So same seeker combos for each team. Very, very interesting to see. These S2Hs out on those are S2Hs out on the Bloodhound that that OSP is relying on to keep track of the ANS frontline. That's gonna be rather unfortunate loss. Although they did like no damage. What the hell was that? Did they have like no warhead in them?
Size 1 warhead.
Size 1 warhead? What the fuck? This thing is fine. What the hell was that? Was a rather interesting missile strike. It seems to have just done nothing. Void losing one of the 450 liners. It was heavily damaged by the missiles. Bunch of Naganantas going out into Tyrant Squadron here as No Care attempts to withdraw them away. Flying bombers out in the open like that, not always the best idea, as several of them start taking hits. 2 of them going down, and the rest of the missiles look like they miss, going off into who knows where. Void trading 450 fire with Steel's Axford here, but unfortunately Steel's Axford has a lot of fire support from all of these other capitals over here. The Capital Deathball really not treating OSP too well, as they have already lost one of their Axfords, and OSP really doesn't have any other frontline other than these liners here, does it?
No, it does not.
And they've already lost
one.
one.
Consider those monitors frontline.
I do not consider those frontline. OSP is going to have to rely on those missiles and the bombers from the carrier to really even up the frontline here, but unfortunately this death stack of Axfords and that one weird support voxel it's going to be quite a lot for the bombers to get through on. Cap Sprinter is diving on the A point. It is detected, but I do not see anything in the area that OSP can use to deny it. Perhaps one of these bomber squadrons can get there in time? I actually don't think they can. Chieftain, perhaps no, but Chieftain is... Oh dear, bottom of the map. Chieftain Squadron is having a bruh moment as the automatic return to base function of the bombers is making it so that those bombers will never return to base.
Oh dear, that is quite unfortunate.
Butcher Squadron has managed to flank around to the entire side of the map and is at B point. Unfortunately for them, there is nothing at B point at all. OSP does get a pretty big cap lead here, as they've been able to hold that 4 cap for quite a while, although it does cost them quite literally all of their front line, as the second of the 450 liners that they brought is effectively mission killed over here. It's pretty crippled, very little restores left, all of its buff modules are gone, and it is still under heavy fire from all of ANS's front line. Saw dump on the Bloodhound tug here. These missiles, unlike the last ones fired at this thing, actually do have warhead on them and do end up killing it. Several of them get decoyed, but it's not enough to save the tugboat. The flanking strike from No Care has been spotted by Steele's Axford as a bunch of Naganatas go down range into this swarm here. The Hornet Squadron attempting to shoot down the Naganatas, doing really well at it, actually, as they seem fine. Only a couple damage to 2 of the ships. Persons does have a cap ship heading to B, which is completely uncontested. The only thing in the area is this Axford, which I do not think is going to be enough. Actually, no. It does have S2Hs, doesn't it? We'll see if those are enough to deny the B cap from going to OSP. More Naganatas out on Hornet Squadron. They were manually fired by Dr. Bladesteel here. Splash 1. Splash 2. Splash 3. Only 3 kills. Oh, there's the 4th. Only 2 craft left in Hornet Squadron. ANS is going to secure the C point here. There is nothing that OSP has to deny that. The missiles... Crystal Woods missile spam fleet is all the way at E point and is completely withdrawn from the area. The carrier is also following suit, retreating around the map. SAR-H missiles out on this R550 tugboat here. It does drop chaff, but its drives are working so that wake valve will find it. Or maybe it just won't. Maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe wake valve just doesn't work. Interesting. The Cap Sprinter on A point, managing to fend off a strike from Battery Squadron here. A bunch of unguided rockets, R3s fired at range from Battery Squadron, are not going to be able to hit the maneuverable target that is this Sprinter here. Person's cap ship going for B has been locked, probably by the Axford, I'm assuming. There are missiles queued, S2Hs queued, I'm assuming, to take out this cap ship before it takes B. Yep. 3 more of these sandstorms. These are the ones that hit the tug earlier and did like negative damage. We will see if it's enough. But if they're not enough, the SAR-H missiles being queued up by the SAR dumping fleet up above will be. Yeah, those warheads must be like size 1, because that did like no damage to this shuttle, did it?
Probably more like size 2, because it wouldn't make sense to have such a small warhead and have a very short sprint range as well.
Will these SAR-H missiles be able to take out this shuttle? Does it still have chaff? It does. It does still have chaff. This shuttle needs to dump chaff, spam chaff, and turn off its engines. But its engines are not turned off, and its engines are facing where the missiles are coming from. I think that the validator is actually going to work this time. Yep, as that ship just gets eviscerated. B point stays in the hands of ANS. ANS's frontline manages to find and finish off the 450 liner. Putting it out of its misery. Void is now effectively out of ships here, as the only ship they have left is this really quite damaged R550 ship. OSP does have quite a sizable point advantage at this point. They did manage to get a bunch of cap points early on, but unfortunately I think that ANS just has complete control over the top of the map. OSP needs to push potentially into A, or even try again for B, maybe. Or maybe they just want to wait and see if the Capitals move off of C. The limited DC of these Axfords completely unpunished at the moment, as no fire has really gone into them at all. One of them has taken a couple 450 rounds, but it's fine. It is out of restores because they restored the... I just realized this thing has, like, small reactor boosters, plant control centers in it. What is taking up all the power on this thing? It has a reactor... It has no micro reactors, is what it is. That's what it is. Interesting. Very strange. Crystal Woods, the SAR-H fleet, is popping up here in the line of sight of the front line. Perhaps maybe trying to get some SAR-H strikes on the exposed Axfords. OSP gets an undetected shuttle onto the A point. Although it does get burned through locked by the Axford, I'm assuming we'll see some more of those Sandstorm missiles come in. Although considering how little damage they did to the last shuttle they were fired at, I doubt that alone they're going to be enough to deny the point. SAR H missiles out from Notes onto Crystal Woods. Question is, does Crystal have chaff on this fleet? They do have jamming, and these do not have an ARAD backup, so potentially able to jam out the launcher if they're quick enough. Doesn't look like they're tasking the jammers. Those missiles are going to land some hits on the SAR H monitors. Not doing a whole lot of damage, but taking out the CIC and the bulk mags on one of them, knocking it out temporarily. A follow-up strike is going to hurt quite a lot. Jamming out from the SAR H dump fleet onto Crystal's fleet to probably cover the second salvo. Yep, they are sending a second salvo right now. Dr. Bladesteel's experts diving on the A point to attempt to recap it. More sandstorms launched from the Axford going out against this this poor shuttle here. Only one of them. Command guided, and it goes for an MMT. The MMT does have a comms jammer in escort, but weren't paying attention. The missile does no damage, though, so it's fine. More SAR H missiles out on Crystal Woods' fleet. It looks like Crystal does lose one of their monitors to the missiles. Rather unfortunate. The other two quite heavily damaged here.
The enemy is securing Zone Atlas.
I think OSP's best chance here is to just play the cap game, honestly, considering how messed up their frontline and missile fleet is at this point. The carrier also getting annihilated by Davenant's Axford. No, only one restore. There's no hangars left. The carrier is out of the fight on ZOVN Shipyards. As more SAR H missiles go into what's left of Crystal Woods' fleet here. Although they miss. Were the illuminators off? No, the illuminators were on. I don't know why those missiles didn't hit. Interesting. Oh, Notes forgot to turn on the illuminators. RIP. As the missiles will unfortunately miss. OSP in a pretty dire state here. All the assets that could have really dealt with the ANS's frontline are completely out of action. The only thing they have left is just various cap assets, which I do not think will be enough to secure them the win. I think OSP right now, or sorry, ANS, I keep getting the names confused today for some reason. I think ANS's best strategy here is to start splitting up their front line to take the points. Although, sprint mines going into the Axfords going for E-point. Those are 3 sprint mine hits into one of these Axfords, and it is pretty injured. Only 2 restores on this thing. That's gotta hurt.
Luckily, the Sarissa there coming in clutch, taking out the
The Sarissa did come in clutch there, managing to. Let's be realistic here. Those Sarissas saved this poor Axford here. Without the damage control to really restore things, that thing would have been pretty crippled.
The enemy is securing Zone Eclipse.
ANS is going to secure E, though. These Axfords are still functional enough to step onto the point. OSP doesn't really have anything left in the tank to stop them. The only thing OSP can really do is try to get a backup on C and B, which it looks like they're already doing, but I do not think that's going. I think that's only going to buy them time. The SAR H fleet is finishing off Crystal's SAR H fleet here. Bunch of the SAR H missiles going for this small little sprinter here. And those are just, they're going to miss. The sprinter's too fast.
Yeah.
The shuttle was too fast for those SAR H missiles as they all miss. One hits but does minimal damage to the drive. Unfortunately for OSP here, the SAR H fleets on ANS still has plenty of missiles left. And that is a 4 cap for ANS.
Yeah, it looks like ANS just showed up, met the beef quota, and also didn't care about caps.
They didn't. Well, they didn't. Yeah, the strategy of just killing the enemy team and worrying about caps later seems to have worked out for them, as OSP lost their only frontline fleet really early on, and their missile fleet and carrier have been cut off here and just completely destroyed.
I think, ZOVN was way too liberal with the usage of the SAW start. They played their hand real early
They
on.
did.
They let them know that we have a SAW dumper.
Those
we have a
massive,
carrier.
those massive SAW dumps into ships that were unilluminated by the pikes was a really interesting
and
thing
also
to
could
see.
just dive into cover.
That
as
is
well.
true. Yeah, they were very close to that rock and just hid behind the thing and just survived.
Instead, what you want to do is you want to leverage that early cap lead that you managed to get, right? You have that cap lead, so you're forcing ANS to either have to split up or keep moving around. And in those moments that they're having to move around, you can exploit the fact that they're either in the open or in suboptimal positions, and you can then
Right.
kill them with the SAW dumps.
It is
Instead, what we
also-
saw is OSP frontline tried to contest the ANS frontline whilst they had a cap lead. It's like, why do that?
Right. I think another thing here is Crystal completely retreated from the C point after missing those initial salvos. If they had stuck around the C point, stayed in hiding, and then came up behind ANS's front line and just dumped a bunch of SAR missiles into it, that would have been a much better strategy, I think. OSP
Well,
did
we
get
might be
the
getting surrender here.
OSP did get the cap advantage very early on, like Vestal said, but really just didn't do anything with it, and just let ANS's front line completely roll up on them and retake the cap advantage. It is worth mentioning here that it does look like OSP will be able to potentially retake the C and B point, but unfortunately, with how powerful and now starting to spread out ANS's front line is, I do not think that that's going to be enough to really turn the tide at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Both of these experts on E point completely out of restores now. Very interesting build from Goose here, bringing such a limited damage control on frontline. Although in their defense, their team did have plenty of frontline to help them out. Notes continuing to SAR dump on dead ships here.
You know, no, better safe than sorry.
Right.
Ship's gonna also reactor overload, so.
Oh, there go most of the missiles. Unfortunate. And the rest of them missed due to the jamming from the detonation.
I mean, they're missing because there's no ship left.
Oh, is that the one that went critical? Oh, that's the one that went critical. I thought it was the ship next to him that went critical, not the ship they were
Yeah,
aiming
there's
at.
nothing left to hit. Oh.
SAR-H missiles are launched out against the cappers on C point. Do they have any
Yeah,
chaff
both
left
these
in the
things are gonna
tanks?
shoot through.
I do not think they have chaff left in the tanks. Oh, nope. The MT has some chaff. It needs to dump it.
It is.
No, the
Not
chaff
gonna
launcher,
do
the
it.
chaff launcher is still functional, but I don't think it's going to dump it. Yeah, as SAR-H missiles evenly spread throughout those two ships, completely destroy both of them, and there goes any chance that ZOVN Shipyard had it, maybe pulling this back.
Yeah, that is quite unfortunate for them. But luckily, there's second round that they can try and claw
That is
back
true. Second round, ZOVN Shipyards will be playing ANS on Tumbleweed. Which
So hopefully they
which
take
automatic
advantage of
yeah,
beams.
which automatically means they win according to Balcon.
Mm-hmm. We don't use that word here, okay?
We don't use that word here. I'm so sorry. And yeah, these SAR-H missile rains incredibly effective this match, able to just pick off key assets from OSP just whenever they show their heads. Very well played fleet from Notes here. It was a little funny that both teams brought SAR-H dump ships, but Unfortunately, Notes just played their hand much better than Crystal did. Missiles do unfortunately miss, but then Axford has already sighted this poor Torp Tug here. ANS now free to just put their capitals on the points and just hold it and say GG. One Axford is looping around to retake D point. There's nothing there to stop it from doing so. The other Axford heading for E point. Davenant's fleet is hanging by C point. We'll deny that. A point is currently being denied by Blade Steel's Axford. And yeah, there's not a whole lot that OSP can do at this point. OSP backing off from the B point, allowing it to be retaken by this crippled shuttle here. Although I don't think... Oh, never mind. They do actually end up killing it, but... Yeah, it's not going to change much at this point. I think my big opinion of this match is that bringing both a missile dump fleet and a carrier fleet is a little rough in a 4v4 situation, because you're inherently either going to be giving up frontline or cap assets, which is very rough. And as we saw here, the lack of frontline just completely allowed ANS to just do whatever they wanted for pretty much the entire match.
Yeah, I guess I have to say nothing, but I mean, I agree with you, yeah. Oh, we'll head on to the second round here, I suppose, and see if ZOVN can pull out a victory in round 2, and maybe we'll get our first 3 rounds in a tournament match.